Well, these days there's lots of I don't know, spectacle fights. We saw Conor McGregor, an MMA guy, taking on Floyd Mayweather, and not too long from now we're going to see Vitor Belfort and Oscar De La Hoya. We know that boxers can't come into MMA, but what do you think about these MMA guys going into boxing? Is that something that even remotely interests you in one of these spectacle pay-per-views that people are doing these days?
Well, I appreciate that those guys are getting boxing money and they're
Yeah.
getting paid
Right,
boxing
right.
money. I think that's the biggest thing I see in this is that they're shining a flashlight on the disparaging difference between the pay that MMA fighters get and the pay that boxers get. And that's all due to the federal legislation, the Muhammad Ali Act that was passed in 1996 to protect boxers from promoters like Don King and create transparency in that sport. We've been pushing to get that amended to include all combative sports athletes and give us that same luxury, that same transparency, so that it levels the playing field and we can negotiate our fair value in the marketplace. So, the Conor McGregor had the opportunity to really hold their feet to the fire and show that. He chose not to. He chose to bring Dana White and company in and let them participate in his boxing match with Floyd. I think this Logan Paul, and Jake Paul certainly know how to talk the game for YouTube sensations. But again, they're poking Dana White and they're making more money than any MMA fighters who've been spending their career doing this in
Crazy.
these boxing matches. I hope Tyron Woodley, I know he's done the diligence and done the work. I hope he has success this coming weekend with Jake Paul. Belfort was always a great striker, so why not try his hand at boxing and get paid boxing money? We saw Anderson Silva do it recently, another MMA star who has a great striking background. Interesting that Jake Paul and Logan Paul keep picking guys with strong wrestling backgrounds
Yeah.
and not strong striking backgrounds. So,
But you have to admit the Pauls aren't too bad at boxers.
they're hard
shit.
workers. You can see that they're still pretty green as boxers go, but they're hard workers. They're putting in the work and they're having fun doing it. It's hard to knock them for that. I'm not a big fan of all the smack talk and all the other stuff. Never have been, but that is what it is.
Speaking of smack talk, at any point in your career, did you ever have any talks with any professional wrestling companies?
I never did. They never approached me.
Oh.
Yeah, it just never happened. I don't know, but it just never did.
Hey, this is Kurt Angle, and welcome to the Kurt Angle Show. On today's show, I promise you won't be bored because we have an MMA and wrestling legend, and his name is Randy Couture. But first, let me introduce to you my co-host, Conrad Thompson. How you doing today, Conrad?
Man, I'm excited. Here we are in the presence of MMA royalty, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Randy Couture. I can't believe this is real. Thank you for the time today, sir.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Randy, how you doing, man? Everything okay?
Doing great. Everything's good. Busy as heck. Feels like the floodgates in February.
What are you doing now, Randy?
I'm doing some commentating for the Professional Fighters League. That's what I'm doing right now here in South Florida. We have the last of our semifinal fights for our postseason matches tonight in the light heavyweight division and the featherweight division. And then we have our championship fight coming up October 27th, again here in South Florida. So excited. This is our third season with the PFL, Professional Fighters League. They took MMA and they put it into a true sports format with a regular season, a postseason, and a championship every year. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Really been fun to be involved.
Very innovative, man. That's great. Is it all down in Florida?
We did all of our regular season fights up at Oceans Resort and Casino in Atlantic City.
Okay.
This season, all the postseason playoff fights have been down here at the Hollywood Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, and our championship will be down here in Florida as well.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're doing well and that you're part of that. That's awesome.